All right, let's dive into the story of a town that was once right at the center of Taiwan's world. We're talking a place of incredible wealth and power that then just kind of faded away. But what it left behind? That's a story that's honestly way more fascinating than its riches ever were. Yeah, we're talking about the historic town of Lukang. In Taiwan, there's this old saying that pretty much everyone knows. It's basically a power ranking of the most important, most powerful cities back in the Qing dynasty. First Tainan, that was the political capital. Third Wanhua, which is now a district in modern Taipei. And sandwiched right there in the middle, holding the number 2 spot, that was the port town of Lukang. For a long, long time, being number 2 meant you were the commercial heart of the entire island. But, well, fortunes change, don't they? So, what happens when the second most important city in a country just loses its place? That's the story we're exploring today. To really get what Lukang became, we first have to understand the incredible heights it reached. This wasn't just some town. This was a metropolis, a buzzing hub of international trade. Its golden age was swift, and it was spectacular. Back in 1784, when direct trade was opened with mainland China, money and goods just started pouring in. By the early 1800s, its influence was immense, with a trade network that basically covered the entire western half of Taiwan. And what's really remarkable is how organized all this prosperity was. The engine room of Lukang's economy was the super sophisticated system known as the 8 guilds. Now, these weren't just simple merchant groups. They were powerful organizations that controlled specific goods, like sugar, textiles, and oil. They set trade rules, they acted as courts for business disputes, and they even funded public works like temples and roads. They were literally the architects of Lukang's glory. But just as quickly as Lukang rose, well, the tide of fortune began to turn. The very things that made it a perfect port for the ships of that era would become its undoing in a world that was changing, and changing fast. So this leads to the huge question: how does a commercial powerhouse, a number 2 city, just fall off the map? Well, it wasn't one single thing. It was a perfect storm of 4 different factors. First off, nature itself turned against the town. The river that was its lifeline started to silt up, just filling with sand, making the harbor way too shallow for big ships. Second, global politics got involved. After the Opium Wars, new, deeper ports were forced open for Western trade, ports that were much better for modern steamships. Third, technology just left it behind. When the Japanese built the main railway line through Taiwan, they routed it inland, completely bypassing Lukang. And finally, the whole center of gravity for Taiwan shifted. Politics and business moved north to Taipei, and Lukang was left economically and geographically, well, isolated. Now, this could have easily been the end of the story. A once great city, now just a forgotten backwater. But this is where things get really, really interesting. Its economic failure became its greatest cultural triumph. Think about it. Because the money left, so did the developers. There were no new high-rises, no wide boulevards to plow through the old city. Lukang was effectively frozen in time, and that accidentally preserved the culture of its golden age in a way no other city in Taiwan could. And what was preserved was just extraordinary. A whole ecosystem of traditional artisans and craftspeople who no longer had a massive port to serve. So instead, they turned inward, just perfecting their skills and passing them down through generations. These crafts became the absolute soul of the town. And the sheer density of this living culture is astounding. A 2016 survey found 138 master artisans still practicing traditional crafts across the wider county. But get this, 84 of them are concentrated right here in Lukang. That isn't a museum statistic. It's a living, breathing community of masters. And today, this isn't just some historical accident. It's a cherished national treasure. Taiwan's government has actively worked to protect and celebrate this unique cultural inheritance. And crucially, these are not forgotten arts. In 2011, 3 masters from Lukang were designated as National Living Treasures, which is the highest honor an artisan can receive in Taiwan. We're talking about people like Shi Zihui and Shi Zhenyang in woodcarving and Chen Wanning in tin art. They're celebrated for keeping these priceless traditions alive. So, you've got this incredible cultural time capsule. But what about the physical town itself? What about the silted-up river that started the whole decline in the first place? Well, in just the last few years, there's been a major effort to bring that historic waterway back to life. The whole revitalization plan focused on a 1.5-kilometer stretch of the old Lukang Creek, the very artery that once carried ships and goods, what they called the town's mother river. The goal wasn't to bring back giant ships, but to restore its life and make it a centerpiece for the community again. And this was a massive undertaking, part of a national infrastructure program. The project, which was completed in 2021, was all about cleaning up the water, rebuilding the riverbanks, and creating a beautiful public park where people could reconnect with their town's history. And you can just see the stunning transformation right here, from the plan to the reality. On one side, you've got the blueprints, the vision for the new waterfront. And on the other, you see the beautiful results, a vibrant, green public space with performance stages, walking paths, and clean water. It's a physical rebirth that perfectly mirrors the town's cultural one. So, after this incredible journey of rise, fall, and rebirth, what's the ultimate lesson from this small town on Taiwan's coast? Why does its story resonate so strongly today? I think it really brings us to the ultimate lesson from Lukang. The town lost its economic engine. It lost the trade, the port, the railway, and its status. And in losing everything that society usually values, it was forced to save something far more precious, its soul. Its true treasure was the culture, the craft, the community, and the memory that remained. And Lukang's story leaves us with a powerful question for our own time. As our cities chase growth and development, as old buildings are torn down for new ones, we have to wonder, when the boom is over, what will be our legacy? What will we leave behind that's worth preserving? Lukang offers a powerful, if accidental, answer.